I'm Margaret Lewin and welcome to Margaret Lewin Quilting. Today I want to show you how I use a calculator to make my cutting faster and a whole lot easier. So what I've got here is a strip, two pieces of fabric that have been sewn together. Each strip is 1.5 inches square. Now I've sewn it together and I need to cut it in 1.5 inch increments. So I've got my phone here because I think my grandson ran off with my calculator. So I'm going to stick my phone right here so that you can see what I'm doing. The first thing that I did was I lined up my seam of my two pieces, and now I'm just going to cut off one end. All right. Then I'm going to rotate my piece of fabric around. Now I use my ruler to determine the size that I'm cutting, but I use my cutting mat to determine that I'm nice and straight. And excuse the glare on the ruler. Hopefully you'll still be able to see what I'm doing. I'll try really hard to make sure you can. What I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up from one up and see how many I have. I've got 21 inches. Not quite though. See, I've got a little bit here that it's just not there. So I know I need to move it up. I'm going to move it up 1/2 inch only because that's an easy number to work with. I've got 20.5 inches. I'm sorry, 20.5 inches. I'm going to divide that by 1.5. So that gives me, I'm going to be able to get 13 strips and a little bit more. So what I'm going to do now is take 13, multiply it times 1.5 equals, that means I need to make my first cut at 19.5. And I'll turn the calculator this way so that you guys can see it easier. I'll work upside down. So I know my very first cut needs to be at 1.5. So again, I'm going to line my ruler up on the seam line. I'm going to slide it to 19.5. All right, so now I'm at 19.5. I'm going to cut this piece off because I know that one's waste. Set that one aside. I'm now going to take my calculator, and this one's a pretty simple one because it's only 1.5. But when you're working with measurements like 3 3/8 or 2 1/4, something like that, it gets more difficult. So it's really nice to have a calculator right there ready to go. So I'm going to minus 1.5 and hit my equals. So now I know my next cut is at 18 inches. See, I don't have to think. I can just keep subtracting all the way along. So there's my next cut. Again, I'm going to go minus 1.5 equals. Now I know my next cut is at 16.5. So like I said, this is a pretty simple calculation, just doing 1.5. But let's imagine that you were dealing with, like I said before, 3 3/8 or some odd number that we don't always deal with. Using our calculator will help us cut faster, more accurately, and save us a whole lot of headaches. So that's my quick tip for today. Grab your calculator and your ruler when you've got to cut your strips. I'll see you again soon, and thank you so much for joining me. Bye.